dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 6:32 on this Monday. I'm Will Puckett.
And I'm Cassidy Strickwood. Thank you so much for waking up with us this morning. A lot of people probably off work for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. But if you're not off of work and you have to get out there, just bundle up.
Yeah, today is a morning where you're going to want to give your car 10, 15 minutes of a little bit of extra time because, Brandon, it's cold this morning. And so people are going to have some frost, maybe even some leftover snow if you didn't get in your car yesterday that you're going to have to navigate your way through this morning. But as a result, it's a pretty clear day for the most part, right?
I'm running out of adverbs to use for the cold that it is out there this morning. I've used bitter, I've used frigid. It's just very cold this morning. Let's get into it as we head out the door this morning. UVA-wise, a nice start to the day condition-wise. If you just had to look at it, if you didn't have to go outside, it'd be okay. But beautiful start there with the clouds backing off and the moon high in the sky up on top of Whitesburg Pine Mountain there, US 119. You can see the moon there lighting up the whole mountainside overnight. But this is the bad part. It is now across the region in the single digits for most, 10 in Somerset, London, and Jacksboro, 11 in Middlesboro. The warmest spot that on our map is 13 in Louisville. When you factor in the wind chill, yeah, it's still pretty frigid. Below zero Monticello, but wise. Winds calm down just a little bit. Road temperatures, everybody below freezing except for I-75 at Corbin. So if you see water running across the road, bridges, overpasses, any road that's not been cleared, which are those secondary, primary C, or excuse me, those C route roads, just be careful because if there's anything on them water-wise, it's probably frozen back overnight. Live pinpoint Doppler radar quiet. Forecast after a frigid start to the day, sunny and cold this afternoon. Another cold night ahead. We could see wind chills again back in the single digits with temperatures in the teens. I'll have the rest of the forecast coming up here in just a few minutes.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Brandon. Well, we are now in week 5 of the partial government shutdown.
President Trump came out with a new offer over the weekend, but Democrats say it doesn't go nearly far enough.
CBS's Mark Liverman has the very latest from New York.
President Trump's latest plan to end the partial government shutdown hasn't won over his critics.
If he opens up the government, we'll discuss whatever he offers, but hostage-taking should not work.
The offer? Temporary protection for some immigrants here illegally in exchange for the border wall.
This extension will give them access to work permits, Social Security numbers, and protection from deportation.
Democrats say the president created the very problems he now wants to solve.
It was effectively saying, look, I created a problem by taking away protections for dreamers. I created another problem by taking away protections for refugees. I'm willing to undo part of the damage temporarily that I have inflicted to get my wall.
Vice President Mike Pence defended the proposal, including from more conservative Republicans who described it as amnesty.
This is not amnesty. There's no pathway to citizenship. There's no, there's no permanent status here at all, which is what amnesty contemplates.
The Senate is expected to vote on the bill tomorrow. Some Republicans admit it's just a starting point.
The vote this week in the Senate is not to pass the bill. It is to open up and say, can we debate this? Can we amend it? Can we make changes?
800,000 federal employees aren't getting paid until the shutdown ends. The TSA said that its employees are calling out at more than double the usual rate due to, quote, financial limitations. Mark Liverman, CBS News.
A handful of airports have had to temporarily close screening areas to deal with the sick call-outs. Despite the issues, the TSA says 99.9% of passengers waited less than 30 minutes on Saturday. Well, members of the 70s rock supergroup KISS say they will give free meals to TSA employees during the government shutdown. TSA employees will be able to get one of 2 meals free of charge, a pulled pork sandwich or a strawberry field salad. The offer is good at standalone Rock and Brews restaurants only. Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley made the announcement last week in a video posted on the Rock and Brews Facebook page. Stanley and Simmons opened the restaurant chain back in 2012.
Well, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is considering a run for Kansas Senate seat. A source confirmed to CNN that Pompeo met with leading GOP consultant Ward Baker to discuss a possible election. The source said Pompeo is, quote, focused on his job as Secretary of State, but he is listening. CNN has also confirmed that Republican leader Mitch McConnell is encouraging Pompeo to take a shot at that Kansas Senate seat. Current Kansas GOP Senator Pat Roberts announced this month that he would not seek re-election, which leaves that seat open. Pompeo was a congressman in Kansas for 3 terms before he took on jobs of CIA director, then Secretary of State.
Well, check this out. A 100-year-old Bhutanese refugee, Gobind Rai, officially became a U.S. citizen Friday. He moved to St. Louis in 2012 after living in a refugee camp in Nepal for 20 years. Since being driven out of Bhutan by violence, Rai considered himself stateless until now. His translator conveyed how the moment felt for him, saying that Rai believes the U.S. is the greatest country in the world. Very cool.
Well, I agree with him wholeheartedly.
Me too. Well, in other news this morning, at least 79 people were killed in central Mexico after a ruptured gasoline pipeline blew up Friday evening.
Officials say at least 81 others were injured. State oil company Pemex said an investigation into the cause of the blast was underway. The company initially said the explosion was caused by illegal taps in the pipeline. The fire resulting from the pipeline explosion has been extinguished, and rescue teams have begun to recover bodies. Well, this morning, people in Mobile, Alabama are mourning the loss of an officer killed in the line of duty. Officials say Officer Sean Tutter was doing a follow-up investigation at Peach Place Inn. That is when he was gunned down by a suspect identified as 19-year-old Marco Perez. They have not released if anyone else is involved in the shooting. District Attorney Ashley Rich says she has authorized charges against the teen.
Been with the chief since right after this happened. We've been here with the investigators. The evidence is still unfolding. This is very much still an active investigation. However, at this time, I am authorizing charges against the suspect for capital murder.
A Mobile police officer was killed in the line of duty nearly a year ago. Officer Justin Billa was shot and killed on February 20th, 2018. His widow posted to Facebook asking for prayers for Tutter's wife and family. Well, Oregon deputies shot and killed a homicide suspect Saturday. 42-year-old Mark Leo Gregory Gagau is accused of killing 4 people, including a 9-month-old. Officials responded to the incident Saturday night as a domestic violence call. The sheriff's office said deputies opened fire when they found Gagau trying to kill yet another kid. That young girl survived along with another person. No deputies were injured.
Well, today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The civil rights icon was born on January 15, 1929. The federal law creating the holiday in King's honor was passed in 1983 after years of organizing by supporters. But not everyone embraced it. North Carolina's Jesse Helms and New Hampshire's Gordon Humphrey both attempted to block the law. The day was observed in the United States for the first time in 1986. MLK Day was designated as a National Day of Service by Congress in 1994. And today, Hazard Community and Technical College will host a breakfast in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It was originally supposed to begin at 9:30 this morning, but it has been postponed until 11. It will take place at the First Federal Center. Dr. Maria Brahman, Vice President of Medical Affairs at ARH, is the keynote speaker for the event. The Kentucky School of Bluegrass and Traditional Music instructors and students will play at the celebration as well.
6:41, still left to go on Mountain News this morning. On this Monday, we will take a look at some stories currently trending over on WYMT.com.
If you're a snow lover like Will Puckett, the extended forecast looks interesting. I'll tell you more about it in about 2.5 minutes.